approaching Atherstone. The doors will not open on this coach. To leave the train, please move forward to the front.
Well, I didn't notice this thing in front, this screen in front of lights before. There isn't one on that one,
Is it
though,
on
is
that?
there?
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Probably already noticed, I just decided to go for another project, and that's an Yamaha XVS 650 2002 bike. You know, it's especially for me, there's nothing more special than, you know, buy a motorcycle, which is more like a small project that you can, you know, get it done yourself, and I found it very rewarding, and then, you know, just enjoying the bike on a ride afterwards. So just normally if you just, you know, click and buy now, for example on eBay, and get it delivered to your house and back of the van, it's not my kind of excitement. So I actually like traveling across the country probably to collect it, seeing it for the first time, hearing it for the first time, and, you know, then riding it back home. That's what I enjoy doing, say, and this is what this journey is all about. Today I've been traveling to Scarborough, North Yorkshire, well, so probably East Yorkshire, Northeast Yorkshire, so by train, and I had to pick up this Yamaha XVS 650 Classic and ride it all the way back to Hinckley. Well, in paper that sounds pretty straightforward, but not really as simple. So I had to get the train there. There were a couple of changes on the way there. It took about 4 hours. Then had to test the bike, buy the bike, ride back home. Well, sounds simple in theory, but there isn't. So anyone who rides motorcycles probably knows that these kind of trips are never really that simple. So especially when you're buying older motorcycles, you don't really know how good the advert actually describes it, and if it's actually the same in reality. No matter how many photos you've seen, how many times you look at them, you never know the truly state of the bike till you get to see it in person. So honestly, that was and it is still for me part of the excitement of buying project bikes and get them done up and then enjoy them. So I think I was quite excited on the video over there. So yeah, so I started doing quite early. I think I woke up about 4 a.m. Just to get at around 5 a.m. to the train station, you know, a bit of coffee. I probably scrolled through the advert 100 times just to make sure that it is the right thing I'm trying to buy. And then, you know, you tend to overthink a bit because there's a million possibilities of how the bike might behave when you get there. So you're always thinking, well, would it be clean? Would it be exactly how I looked at it online? Will the engine sound healthy? Then how will be the riding back home? Will that be smooth? Is the suspension good? Is the tires good? Are the tires good? You know, there's a lot of variables around these sort of things. So because buying these project bikes always comes with a bit of a risk. You know, if you're asking the sellers, they will always say, yeah, it runs perfect, or it's been well looked after. You get there and you just realize, well, it's not much service history to back those claims, and many times I think I over enjoyed it, and many times you're just taking a bit of a gamble. So realities many times could be very different, especially with old bikes. So, but yeah, still part of the fun. You know, I always like it when I do a bit of a voiceovers. I don't remember 100% what I've done on the videos, but yeah, I think that adds to the entertainment that this video brings. So now in regards to motorcycles, I do like them, but I still prefer the classics because it feels to me that they still have a bit of personality. Modern bikes exactly me. They all kind of look the same and a bit overcomplicated with the amount of technology on them. Very difficult to repair them outside dealerships, and you will struggle to have all the necessary tools and manuals to be able to do that, where the older bikes are pretty much running on the same principle. So now, because you were talking about personality and character, well, that's what this Yamaha XVS 650 does have, because it's one of those old school cruisers. It's got a bit of the old school cruiser charm, so a bit of low seat, point bars, tons of chrome. That makes you want to take it on a long road back home. So yeah, just enjoy a bit the sound of this bike, and you'll understand what I mean. Oh right, so well, I stopped at a petrol station because I was thinking I'm potentially going to run out of fuel. I would like to enjoy the journey as much as I can, not to make too many stops. But reality is that the owner of this bike actually put a full tank in there. Initially he said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a full gallon so you can get to the petrol station," but me without even checking, just realised now as I stopped that it's actually a full tank in there. I was barely able to squeeze about a couple of litres in there, but I didn't know, to be honest, because these are all classics. They don't really have a fuel gauge, so they're only going to tell you if you run out of fuel. Very old school. But anyway, so now about the journey to Scarborough. So I have to say it was a really long journey. So, but I finally did arrive there probably about 10 AM. And honestly, there's always that kind of strange feeling when you walk in towards a motorcycle that you already mentally convince yourself to buy, because at that point you want it to be good, and you want it to be as good as you planted into your head. That, you know, you had the impression from the beginning when you look at the advert, yeah, it's going to be alright, it's going to be good. So, but you want that first impression to match what you're actually seeing when you get there. So, thankfully, this one did. The bike looked clean and honest, not perfect, not brand new, but fairly honest, I would say, but I prefer that. A motorcycle with a few signs of use usually tells you a better story than something that's just been sitting untouched for years. So, and you can kind of understand that, you know, what was the actual journey of the bike. You know, you get to fully understand that. So now, in regards to the condition of this bike, probably from the video it's not really that visible, but the rear tyre needs replacing. The front one is brand new, but the rear one really needs replacing. The exhaust sounds alright, but feels like sometimes it's a bit of a pop. It could be onboard fuel, which could be caused by the fact that it's not been serviced recently, so I have to change spark plugs, air filters, making sure it's got the right amount of air through and stuff like that. So, but I have to say, in a way, the owner was fairly honest in regards to this, because he said there's not been any service to the bike for the past year, and then fortunately there was no more service history with it except the MOTs. So I want to believe that part of that is because of the no service being done to it for the past year. So you can learn a lot sometimes by just looking at a bike, but till you actually see in reality, it's that's when you can truly assess if what you're seeing in the photos truly matches with what the bike condition is. So to an extent, in regards to this bike, even though it's got no service history, it seems it's been well treated and well looked after cosmetically, considering its age. Is a 2002 bike, so it's approaching the 25th year, so fairly alright for what it is. But in a way, the looks only matter so much. The real test is hearing it running. So at a course start, it was quite okay. It tells you a lot about a motorcycle, to be honest. For me, this one didn't sound too bad. There was no clunky noises and stuff. It's only a 9,700 miles bike, so I was expecting it to be in a fairly good condition. Yamahas, and especially these engines, the 650 ones, are known to be fairly reliable, because it's that type of engine which is not really stressed too much. It's a low compression, low horsepower, so it should be reliable for a long time. So, but anyway, when I went there, and then you've probably seen at the start of the video, on a cool start, this one fired up properly. No smoke, no rattles, no strange knocking noises. It's just a proper deep V twin cruiser sound. So, which was honestly, the second I hear it, I start smiling. So I said, yeah, it is alright, because it sounded exactly how a cruiser should. So very deep and relaxed, kind of not extremely aggressive, but I have to say it is louder than a standard exhaust. That's because it's got a Belkovich exhaust system on it. So, well, I have to say, straight off that, it was a quick done deal. Transferred money, hand over the keys, done insurance, tax it. I was ready to go. It's a bit of a strange feeling that kicks in. You can see I was quite a bit overexcited, because I really enjoyed this light cruiser on the way back. So, to be honest, I didn't have any plan. There was no backup plan to it, by the way. It was just me deciding to ride it back, and I took it as a bit of a risk. So I was hoping that this is going to work okay. I was a bit worried about the rear tire, by the way. So, but it turned out to be quite okay. So when I left the owner's house, I have to say there was a bit nerve-wracking, because we're looking at about 5-hour ride back, so it was about 160 miles. But I was only going on the back roads and stuff, so traveling extremely fast, and the 650 with 40 horsepower is not the definition of fast by any means. So, and it being a bike that you don't know, you don't really fully trust it yet. So every vibration or everything that you're not used to, you think it's something wrong. Every sound that seems suspicious, you think like, oh, let me just listen to it constantly and analyzing it. It adds a bit of pressure to yourself. But after a few miles, the nerves slowly started fading away, and I was getting a bit more confident with it. So one of the things which I've noticed about this XVS 650 was the fact how relaxed it felt. So it's that kind of bike that you can't do anything wrong with it, if that makes sense. It doesn't encourage you to rush, by the way, and the riding position is fairly comfortable. it's that kind of classic cruiser. You just yourself on the road, you're enjoying it, the low speed and stuff. You know, you have feet a bit forward, the wide hat, the bars, and everything feels a bit laid back. And honestly, that's part of the charm. Not every motorcycle has to be fast. You know, it's not every ride needs to feel aggressive or something. You know, just riding is just about the journey itself and just enjoying what's around you. Surrounds you, and scenery, you know, sound of the engine, the feeling to be on the road, open road. And I have to say this Yamaha really suits that kind of riding perfectly. Now, after leaving Scarborough, the road slowly started to open up, and I finally started setting into the bike properly, and at that point I was beginning to trust it more and more. The engine felt smooth after it warmed up, so gears were changing nicely, temperature didn't seem to have to be overheating or anything. I didn't see any warning signs or any strange behavior, and honestly, some of the stress I had when I left, it started to fade away, and the ride itself became more enjoyable. I definitely noticed something about this XVS 650, and that's a slow speed. Is the fact that it's a very light bike, and maneuvering around junctions and, you know, even the fuel stations, that felt quite okay. So, because, you know, if you're thinking about the big cruisers, they tend to be very solid, heavy, hard to maneuver around. But this is not that kind. This is really probably that's why a lot of people do prefer them to even convert them to bobbers and stuff. And it's that kind of bike which is, it's all about the journey. It's all about getting comfortably from A to B and enjoy the road. So you know, I had the impression at one point that this bike wants to cruise forever and ever. So yeah. You know, when I stopped at a fuel station earlier, it was, for a moment I was, you know, taking my helmet off and stretching my legs a bit, and I was thinking, oh wow, I actually own this now. So it's a really nice feeling as well. It's I think every bike can really understand that sort of feeling when you know, you're getting excited, having a new toy and enjoying the ride, and the bike feels very good and everything. So you building that connection with it. So yeah, I have to say it's something that really brings me a lot of excitement. So anyway, talking about the road again, as you can probably see from the footage, the weather was very UK type of weather, UK conditions. Bit of a bright sunshine, but some clouds were building up. To be honest, I kind of knew the rain will happen somewhere around 5 p.m, so I was kind of looking to get back home before it really starts. So you know, it's one of the things that has to do the experience. It's that kind of ride you remember the uncertainty and the excitement of running away from the rain. So now I have to say, as the miles were starting to build up, I just realized this is a type of riding I really enjoy. Relaxed, comfortable, steady, no pressure to constantly ride fast, and just to enjoy the road at your own pace. I've been riding different styles of motorcycles for the past years, and actually this felt very refreshing in a way. Cruisers kind of force you to slow down, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. You know, the higher speeds, you know, the scenery and the ride is completely different. So, but talking about high speeds, I was pushing a bit at one point the bike to about 65 to 70 miles an hour, and it's holding quite well. It held quite well. Now obviously with the windshield, dynamic is more like a brake, but it's still okay for protecting you against the wind. So I have to say it felt quite solid still, and quite stable. So I say every mile on it started my confidence started to keep growing. So now when I started reaching, you know, Hinkley area, or like the say again getting too excited, I was becoming a bit more familiar. So and even build up my confidence a lot more. So but yeah, eventually I got back to Hinkley about 5 p.m. I was a bit tired and a bit bitten by the wind to an extent, but it was definitely a journey worth doing, and I'll probably do it a few more times. So that's kind of ends my short review about the Yamaha and my experience in buying it. And I'll have a few more videos about it, because I'll have to fully service it, which I'll try to detail as much as possible what I was about to do to it. And eventually the bike will go up for sale probably in about a couple of months, after I enjoy a bit of time with it, and someone will definitely have a really nice fully serviced bike to enjoy for many years. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video. Enjoy.